Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Oral Reports. Now, as most of you know, this time of year is when every student goes back to school in order to complete another grade in order to graduate. However, on the topic of school, there are some folks, like myself, who had a mixed school year. For example, a couple years ago, I did say that my junior high years weren't really my favorites, even if it ran for 2 years. I mean, most of it consisted of tests, essays, and difficult projects. Even having to change in the locker in fear of being picked on, and having a rotating schedule. But anyway, today, in order to celebrate the new school year, I'll be blogging a movie where middle school can go from strict to crazy. So let's get started. Released on October 7th, 2016, the movie is Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life. Now let's get started. Rafe Katchadourian has an epic imagination and a slight problem with authority. And these things collide when he transfers to a middle school where students are expected to follow the rules. This doesn't sit well with Rafe. With help from his best friend Leo, the mischievous lad concocts schemes to drive his tyrannical principal crazy, while also using his charm and wit to impress a girl and battle the bullies. So, what do I think of this movie? Well, this movie was really rowdy and crazy. And to me, this is one of the many films where kids rule. Yes, I love it that much. But, before I get ahead of myself, let's move on to Mustang notes. On August 4th, 2015, it was announced that Steve Carr would direct the movie adaptation of James Patterson's 2011 novel, Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life, with a script written by Chris Bowman and Hugh Bill Palmer. Leopoldo Goat and Bill Robinson were set to produce the movie, along with CBS Films, which handles international sales, with Lionsgate handling distribution. On November 12, 2015, more casts were announced for the film, whose script was also written by Kara Holden. It was also announced that Patterson would co-finance the movie through his James Patterson Entertainment, along with Participant Media and CBS Films. Principal photography on the film began on November 21st, 2015 in Atlanta, Georgia, and wrapped up on January 19, 2016. Now, in my opinion, while I haven't read the original book, there are some things in this movie I can sort of relate to with the whole junior high experience. Except, the school I went to at that age, La Paz Intermediate, wasn't that much indoors as the school featured in this movie. Also, the humor in this movie is very wacky, though some of it can be a tad mature for younger audiences. Also, for fans of hand-drawn animation, the filmmakers have included some hand-drawn animation, not only for Rafe's drawings, but also for Rafe's imagination. And in my opinion, this style of hand-drawn animation is very creative. Anyway, now that we got Mustang notes out of the way, let's move on to the cast. Our main character, Rafe, is played by Griffin Gluck, who did voice a young Bruce Wayne in Batman vs. Robin. Now, in my opinion, Rafe is the most relatable character in the movie. He's an incredibly talented artist. Reminds me of me when I was his age. Also, the stuff he does to rebel against the principal's rules, like placing sticky notes everywhere, messing with the principal's hair, sabotaging the school's video camera, hall alarm, and sprinklers, and other things, are really outrageous, but in a creative way. Because if someone was messing with my life, I would rebel against them too. Next we have Rafe's best friend and brother, Leo, played by Thomas Barboska. This young kid is a real cool dude. In life, before he died from cancer, he and Rafe have been thick as thieves. But throughout this movie, Rafe likes to imagine that he's still with him. Rafe's little sister, Georgia, is played by Alexa Neesonson. Georgia is like most little sisters in the history of humankind. She can be a tad annoying, but she is very smart, especially when joyriding. And, of course, she looks out for Rafe. Plus, I just like that she joins Rafe and his friends at the end of the movie to sabotage the Blar. Next is Janica Wetty, played by Isabella Moner, who previously voiced Ava in Kingdom Hearts Key back cover, and the bratty Heather in Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature. Now, Janie is Rafe's love interest and my favorite character in the whole movie. She hosts a charity to save polar bears from becoming an endangered species. What's more, she's very smart. And of course, she becomes impressed when Operation Rules Aren't for Everyone happens at the school. Also, she reminds me of a girl who lives downhill from where I live and goes to vocational visions with me. I also think it was very clever that Janice sets up video cameras in the school's hallway to catch Rafe sabotaging the sprinklers and catch Principal Dwight placing evidence in the school's lockers to frame them for the pranks. We also have Mr. Teller, Rafe's friendly and fun-loving English teacher played by Adam Pally, who I only know from Iron Man 3. Teller is my third favorite character in the movie, second being Leo. Anyway, Teller dislikes Dwight's antics, and after he gets fired, he reports to the superintendent about the unlawful rules and the rigging of the Blar. Next up is Carl, aka Bear, played by Rob Riggle, who has been in The Lorax, Hotel Transylvania 2, and Hell and Back. Now, Carl is a really greedy, pompous, deceitful, manipulative, conniving, selfish, narcissist, arrogant, and lazy man. He constantly belittles Rafe and Georgia by always saying that Rafe is a messed up loser and Georgia is just a little girl. And he cares more for his car than anything else. He even hates Georgia's dog, Calvin, and tends to abuse him for his own pleasure, much to Georgia's disgust. After moving into Rafe's house, he plans to marry his mother, Jules, and plans to send Rafe to the military boarding school. Gee, that sounds like what Larry tried to do in The Cat in the Hat. And like I said while blogging that movie, I'm glad that my autism keeps me safe from ever being in the military, even though I got to act as a military general last year. But I'm glad at the end of the movie, Jules breaks up with Carl by returning his wedding ring to him. Finally, we have Principal Ken Dwight, played by Adam Daly, who has been in The Brave Little Toaster to the Rescue and Yogi Bear. Dwight is the strict and exceedingly vain principal of Hills Village Middle School. Now, I hate this guy. He's such a cruel, greedy, selfish, and ruthless man who likes making his students follow the rules, which are really unlawful. Dwight runs the school as if it were a prison. When Rafe gets on Dwight's bad side, he destroys his notebook by dumping it into a bucket of acid. Also, it seems that all Dwight cares about is test scores. Kind of like Benedict from Recess School's Out. So, while Operation Rules Aren't For Everyone is going on, the scores start to slip down, and Dwight plans to find the culprit and punish him. Later, he expands the rules and plans on illegally cutting off the remedial class and frames the students from said remedial class for the pranks before suspending them. Anyway, let's move on to my final words. Overall, middle school, the worst years of my life, is everything but worse. The story is insanely rowdy, though a tad relatable. The characters like Rafe, Leo, Georgia, and Janine rock in this movie because kids rule in my vocabulary. The villains like Dwight and Carl are real douches. The humor is really hilarious, though a bit mature, and the animation featured in this movie is very creative. I highly recommend this movie if you folks haven't seen it yet, or if you like seeing school-related films. As for my final rating, I give this film an 87% out of 100. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Be sure to join me again for my next blog. Mustang Power!
I wake up in the morning and I get out of bed. I put away my toys and pick my books up instead. I'm on my way to somewhere that's the in place to be.
It's where we all hang out, my buddies and me.
I go to school.